And yes, we are live. Who is excited today? Thank you for joining me today. I am excited to be here. If you can see me, you can hear me, do let me know in the comment section. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Please let me know. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Please let me know. I'm just waiting for someone to tell me they can see me. Write in the comments, please. Welcome, 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 welcome. Can you hear me? I can't see you guys in the comments. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. Can you hear me? Let me know. Yes. Thank you very much for confirming you can hear me. Okay, now let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Glow Into the Week. And I have for you today a special guest. I won't tell you who that person is. It's somebody you're less likely to guess. So, who can guess who my special guest is? Except those in my house, of course. But you can't guess, okay? But yes, it's going to be fun, it's going to be insightful. My special guest chose this topic, and I said, okay, let's have her in here and let's do this together. So let's go. Can you still hear me and can you still see me? Please let me know. Let's go. Fine. Now, let's ask yourself a question. Who are you beneath your fear, your survival, your comparison, and the expectations you have of yourself? Welcome to this week's Glow Into the Week. I am Dr. Chimsom Ogu, your skin and confidence doctor. I help you glow truly from inside out. Now we're talking about an important, very deep topic, which is the you in you. Sometimes one of the saddest things in life is not fading. Some of us think that that's the worst thing that can happen to us, but the truth is that is not one of the saddest things. It's actually slowly losing yourself. It's slowly losing your confidence, your voice, your joy, that thing that makes you authentic. Slowly losing your courage. And why does this happen? It happens because sometimes we're afraid, because of trauma, because we feel rejected, because, of pressures of life. Because we are comparing ourselves with others, or because we are simply concentrating on trying to survive. And slowly, one day, you just wake up and you realize that you no longer recognize the version of yourself that you can see. That's really heartbreaking. Now, when I say the you in you, what does it mean? It means what I'm trying to say is that inside every person, there's your real self. The one that sometimes you're even afraid of showing to the world or even acknowledging to yourself. There is the confident self that you may have forgotten or you have not even harnessed. There's your gifted self. There's your self that is, joyful. And there's that part of you that is very courageous. But the truth is that life can bury various versions of us. Sometimes the real you is still inside. It's just waiting for you to rediscover it. Honestly. So the truth is that life can actually disconnect you from yourself. The world can, condition us sometimes away from who we are meant to be. For example, if you're always being criticized, that can make you believe that the version of you that your people are seeing is not good enough, but actually that's the real you, and you start to hide yourself. If you had any kind of trauma in your life, either in marriage, as a child, even as an adult, that may make you block out some parts of your life that seem unpleasant. And you start to, you know, show the world a you that has barriers, that is blocked, not the original version of who you're supposed to be. It could happen because of rejection. Maybe somebody told you something. The truth is that sometimes we allow people to define who we are, and they say something bad and we just stick to it and hold on to it for a very long time. Yet, it may not actually be true. And then we feel that we are not worth it. The rejection hits us, so strongly, and it starts to define the version of us that we are showing the world. Sometimes is what we see around us, the quote unquote beauty standards that the world has come to, put. But we forget that beauty standards change. Beauty standard depends on what location you're in. If you're maybe in France, they like skinny people. You go to another place, they like chubby people. You go to another place. So it depends on the area you are. And then we allow it define how we see ourselves. And then we now try to project a different version to suit what our environment has said is normal. Then it could, nothing that can disconnect us is, comparing ourselves with other people, which I have talked a lot about in different episodes of, this show. And one that we seem to neglect sometimes is a toxic environment. You can't, grow more than your environment. If you're in a place where maybe you have friends that are always putting you down or always saying bad things and all, it starts to affect you. You become the company that you keep. Or even it could be even your family member, it's all in your family that is toxic, that always tries to bring you down. It makes you now start to feel like you don't want to show the world that how will they see maybe that part of you. Maybe you're supposed to be a star, you're supposed to be someone so something I see it happen in children. They are very intelligent, but they're in an environment where people around them are dull. They now start to make them feel like being intelligent is a bad thing, and they start to hide their talent. They start to dumb down themselves to just to feel among a certain, feel among a certain group of people. So you're now not being the true you that you are supposed to be. And sometimes it could be because of painful experiences that you've had, which I will also relate to trauma. So when all these things happen, people start to abandon what makes them special, what makes them unique. They forget their own voice and they allow the voices in their head and other people's voices override what they want to say or who they want to portray, who they really are, or their ability to portray themselves. They slowly abandon their confidence and they just get to a state where they just start to survive so that they can fit in. Now, fear is a really bad thing. It makes a lot of us shrink. It's one of the biggest reasons why people stop being themselves because they're afraid of failure, they're afraid of being embarrassed, they're afraid of being rejected, they're afraid of being judged. They're also afraid of not being accepted. So it makes them to stay silent and hide who they really are. And that's a big problem. It makes them start to dim their light and also avoid opportunities and suppress the gifts that God has given them. It's a sad thing. Let's not. Uh, um, Fear is actually the opposite of faith. It's the absence of faith. So you cannot entertain fear when you say you're a Christian, when you say that you believe in God, because it is just the opposite. Another thing that is the problem is trauma. It changes people. Some things that happen in their childhood, they purposely block it out because they don't want to be reminded of it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to, they are afraid of whatever happened. So they don't want to bring it up because they feel like it's, a bad experience that maybe people will judge them for. But the thing is that sometimes your bad experiences can actually turn to teaching points. It can actually become your purpose in life. I'm not saying you should have bad experiences, but it's all about how you see it. So sometimes people are not actually fake, when they are not showing their real self. They're actually just simply wounded. Because when they showed who they really were, something bad happened. So trauma can change, your self-esteem. It can affect your confidence, and then even it can be so bad that it makes it difficult for you to trust people. It also makes it the way you express yourself emotionally is also becomes a problem. It can go as far as affecting your identity or the way you see yourself. So some people become survival versions of themselves instead of the authentic versions of themselves. Another thing that happens is that sometimes we are stuck in the place of trying to please other people. That's what we call people pleasing. So many people no longer know who they truly are because they are trying to conform to what other people's version of them should be. They spend so many years becoming who others wanted them to be. Oh, no, this is not a good place to be. Sometimes maybe, for example, I'll use medicine for example. Some people study medicine because they were forced to, and they come in there and they struggle, and it's not really who they are. But because they're trying to conform to what one person told them or what one narrative that was, shaped around their life, they stay there and stay unhappy. So they have become what other people wanted them to be, not what they wanted for themselves. So let's understand that trying to please everyone can make you abandon yourself. Don't fall into that space. You can never make everybody happy. You're not ice cream. According to my group, you are not ice cream. It's not possible for you to make everybody happy. You come first. Always remember that you come first. Then, after that, others. So, when you're a people pleaser, you start by, dressing in a way so that you'll be accepted, maybe in your circle or where you find yourself. You start to speak in a different way so that you can gain approval. You start to live for validation instead of living truly authentically. So it's something that can change you from who you are truly to who other people want you to be. Another thing that I've talked about a lot is comparison. It can destroy authenticity. In this age of social media, it has made many people feel like they are not beautiful enough. Yet they forget that half of the people you see on social media are, you know, filters, etc. It has also made people feel like they are not successful enough. It has also slowly convinced people that they need to become someone else for them to matter. But let me tell you something, that thing that makes you unique is your superpower. Embrace it. Don't allow somebody else's definition of of beauty, of whatever, shape who you are. It's very important that you understand this. So a lot of people just have gone into survival mode. Some people are so busy that they are just surviving emotionally. you know they are trying to survive financially. They are struggling. Their mental health is not in the right place, that they no longer have space to discover who they truly are. So sometimes we are just so exhausted. Life is life, like things are happening, and then we just are too focused on getting the bread and this there, and then years later you realize that you were just acting, you were just surviving, you were just acting out life, and you're not showing up like you truly and really needed to. So another thing is that some of us have a fixed mindset, and that's one thing my daughter said to me today. She said, you know, that is one of the things that can, stop you from being your true self. Because a fixed mindset will tell you, this is all I can become. It will tell you, I can never change. Or sometimes say, in my family, we don't do this thing. Or I'm not good at this thing. That's a fixed mindset. You're not even willing to change. Because the truth is that whatever you believe you are, that's what you are. Whatever you say with your mouth, that's what you are. So if you can change your life by saying, changing the way you think, why not just take it, give it a shot? It all depends on you. So sometimes you will see that other people are naturally better than you. But the truth is that growth begins the moment that you believe that healing is possible, that you open your mind, that you believe that confidence is possible and that you can grow. And then you're open to change, open to accepting things that you're not used to or learning from other people. So when it comes to, being yourself, children are naturally expressive before we start to shut them up. They're naturally, creative. A lot of them are naturally bold and they have authentic ideas, whether we like to say it or not. But as people grow older, we start to have fears that we never knew existed, and then confidence starts to decrease. And then experiences that we have makes us to shrink and we start to compare ourselves with other people. And life slowly teaches people to shrink themselves. It's a sad place. The Bible tells us that in Romans that we should be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So to become the you that you're supposed to become, you start by renewing your mind. Even the Bible says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. These are scripture versions that we should hold on to and affirm, the real versions of ourselves. And God even said that before He formed us, He knew us. That means He knew the end. So don't by yourself be hoping that the end is going to be bad. You understand? God knew who you were before fear and pain changed your perception of yourself. So go back to that place and understand. So let's take an example of Moses. For example, when God called Moses, Moses was afraid. He focused on the insecurities he had. He focused on his weaknesses and his fears. He said to God, I am slow of speech. But God had already seen that he was going to be the person to deliver the Israelites. God had already seen him as a leader before he actually saw it in himself. So don't allow circumstances around you dictate things around you. Now let's take Gideon for example. God saw him and said, mighty man of valor. But at that point, Gideon saw himself as weak, as insignificant. He could not see the him in him that God was referring to. So before Gideon could win the battle externally, his mindset and identity had to change internally to become what God was calling him. So healing is sometimes returning to yourself, reconnecting with that voice with your voice and rediscovering your confidence and also uncovering, the fear, uncovering whatever fear that you have buried. The truth is that growth is not always becoming someone new. It's sometimes actually becoming yourself that you have forgotten again. Now, what are practical ways for you to reconnect with yourself? Number one is to sit down and write down. Journal honestly. When you do that, you start to tell yourself, see some truths that you you found it difficult to, what am I looking for? You found it difficult to this word is off my head, but when you start to journal honestly, you start to reconnect with yourself. You start to tell yourself truths that you didn't want to confront before. Take time and spend time alone reflecting. That's another thing you can do. Reflect on the things that have happened to you before you got to this point and ask yourself, what are the things that I used to like to do? What are the things that I have forgotten that I loved? Why have I stopped doing them? What happened along the way? When you were, think back to when you were maybe 12 or 13. What were those things that used to give you joy that you completely haven't done anymore because you are just in survival mode? Another thing you can do is to stop comparing yourself constantly with others. There's no mates. You don't have any peer. Everybody's running their race. Some of your mates, people that you were born with, are dead and you're alive. So you really have an advantage. So why compare yourself constantly with others? Try and heal from unresolved pain. Confront that pain and attend courses to help you move away from it, and tell yourself the truth and forgive, because you can't heal if you can't forgive. If somebody hurt you, speak kindly to yourself, extend grace to yourself. Sometimes we judge ourselves harsher than we judge other people, and it's a big problem. Try things that challenge fear. you know Pray and renew your mind, and surround yourself with people who encourage growth. Like, someone will say, move, you're not a tree. You can't, if people don't align with your values, don't, you know you and them are not thinking the same way, please don't be in that space, because with time they are going to drag you down. So always read the room and know what you're supposed to do. So I want you to ask yourself, when did I stop fully being myself? What experiences made me shrink? What version of myself have I abandoned? What will my life look like if I stop living with fear? Ask yourself those questions seriously. So now, while we continue, I want to introduce our special guest, and I didn't tell you guys who it was. And the special guest is my lovely 10-year-old daughter, Wachi. Can you guys see her? We can see her. She's small. Wachi, they can't see you. Say hi, Wachi.
Hello.
Hello, Wachi.
Hello.
So, yes, Wachi came up with the topic, right? Okay, I think you need to start so that you will see better, right? Well, let's just come closer. Okay, hi guys, this is my pretty daughter, Wachi. So she's our guest for today. Because she came up with the topic, and then and she said, "Oh, I wanted to be on the show," and I was like, but yes, we are here. Okay, Wachi. So what did you tell me this topic meant?
Like, for example, in a fixed mindset, it's like you this is who you are now. So if you have a fixed mindset, that means that just like you building a wall between who you are now and who you can become later. But if it's a growth mindset, that means just breaking the wall or just demolishing the wall, which and pushing yourself forward to who you can become later.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And also inside a fixed mindset, you're like I cannot do this, but the Bible says as a man thinketh, so is he. But and also if you think that like I cannot, you don't agree, like you know how to speak, you can do it, but you refuse to, but you feel, but you refuse to go out and show your light. Like the Bible says, let your light so shine. So if you don't, later you call yourself a Christian, because but the Bible says that you have to make sure let your light to shine.
Yes, sorry. Our battery is about to die. I just need to plug my laptop. Okay, Machi, continue there.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a few questions for you actually. Do you think that adults forget who they are sometimes? Okay,
Yes.
so explain to us.
Wait, first explain the question.
I said, do you believe that as we're adults, right? Sometimes we are not showing the world who we really are. We're actually forgotten be how we wanted to be as children, or who we wanted to be, you know. You think we do that sometimes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes like sometimes whenever some an adult tells me like sometimes my teacher now she'll act as if she wants to do something. Then she wants to do something. Then I ask her, why don't you want to do it? She said that it's because of she can't do it anymore. That she has become too old for it. I then wanted to explain to her that you cannot become too old. For that there's nothing that you do that you become too old for anything.
Okay.
That even if no matter how old you are, let's say that you're 100 years, it doesn't mean that you cannot do something that you want to do. Like if you want to like write a book and you know what to do, for example, you know what the book is. For example, if you want to write a book called Abandon, instead you know how to write it, you know what you want to write, but there's only something that's holding you. I've been learning about that book since you were a child. But to feel as if something is holding you, like you're a great actor, like you know how to write books. Like people have seen books that you have written, but you haven't published it. Like you feel like whenever they ask you why haven't you published it, they'll be like, because because I don't have money, I don't have, because I don't know how to laugh.
Right?
When there's nothing that if you want to do something, you will do it. So there's no point making an excuse.
Exactly.
So if you just make the excuse, it just means you're just indirectly saying that I am scared. Or you're just allowing the devil to tell you in your ear. It's as if the devil is telling you you cannot do it.
Exactly.
And you're indirectly listening to it.
Exactly. That's beautiful watching. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, so I'll ask you another question. What makes children actually confident?
Because of you are born that way. Because of when you're born, you don't even know. For example, you don't know what something is, so you just want to explore. Like us as children, just want to explore. But sometimes adults, just like sometimes in school, my teacher would like shut somebody down for talking in class or just for asking a question. Like they say, this girl likes asking an annoying question that everybody in the class will agree. But
that's not good.
But what makes us naturally confident is that like we have there's one kind is when you're a child is one there's a guts that you have inside of you.
A guts. Okay.
What? It's called a guts.
Okay.
You have a guts like somewhere around here. I don't know what it is. But some children just have a small one. Like those children that are quiet, that means that they just had a small one. Which means that anything that you do, it has gone. But some children with the big one, when they talk, you know that they have it. So that they have the guts. That's the reason why whenever an adult asks you, where did you get the guts to do this thing? That just know that child has the guts.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I'll ask you one last question. Okay, one last one. Our time is running out. Okay. 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 Let's just a short answer. Okay, second to last question, right? Okay. So, what do people become? Why do people become afraid to be themselves?
Because of they want validation.
What do you mean by that?
Like they want people to accept them. Like sometimes I act me myself. Sometimes I act as if I just want to fit in with others until I then figured out that just trying to fit in and they will never accept you no matter what you do. They'll still be somebody like you're not ice cream. Even ice cream self, not everybody likes ice cream. Okay, let's change it to Nigerian slang. You're not chicken.
You're not chicken.
So and I know just know if you don't like chicken, just know you're not in Nigeria. So if you're not chicken, so if there's no way that everybody will like you. Because if you keep on trying to just know you're fading yourself, the more that you try to be fine, to try yourself to become accepted, the more that you're fading, your real self is fading and fading and fading too. So inside your body is then empty.
Okay, thank you, Machi. Very, very, very insightful conversation. So, what the last question? Just give us one advice you want to give people who are afraid to try something new.
Sometimes whenever I think that I'm afraid to do something, like example inside swimming, whenever I'm afraid to dive, like I want to dive, they'll ask me. So there's something inside my chest will be telling me, will just be holding me from diving. Then, so in my mind, it just dive, nothing is stopping me. So what you should do, like whenever that thing inside your chest comes, just like go ahead as long as you know that you're not going to injure yourself. But if you injure yourself, don't come. As long as you know you don't injure yourself or you will not die or anything bad will happen to you. Finish.
Okay, Machi, thank you for joining us today. So, hope you guys
One
enjoyed
last thing,
listening to.
respect.
Okay, respect. What about respect? Okay. So, thank you guys for listening to watch. I hope you learned something from all the things my beautiful daughter said. Okay, let's go on and talk about say our affirmations for the week. What should let's say them together? I
I deserve
deserve
to
to
take
take up
up
space.
space. I
I reject
reject
fear
fear
and
and
limitation.
limitation.
I
I
am
am
becoming
becoming
my
my
authentic
authentic
self.
self.
I
I do
do not
not
need
need
to
to
shrink
shrink
to
to
be
be accepted.
accepted. I
I
am
am
capable
capable
of
of growth
growth and
and
healing.
healing.
I
I
am
am
fearfully
fearfully
and
and
wonderfully
wonderfully
made.
made.
I
I glow
glow
from
from the
within.
within. So, guys, this week I charge you to stop abandoning yourself. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces God never designed to contain you. Reconnect with your voice, your confidence, your purpose, your authenticity, because the world needs the you in you. And somebody may actually be missing something because you are not being yourself. You may be the savior that God has sent to save one person. So stop shrinking, stop hiding. Just know that sometimes growth is not becoming someone completely different. Sometimes it is discovering the powerful, authentic, beautiful version of yourself that life made you forget. The you in you matters. Hope you enjoyed our session today. Thank you for joining me and Wachi. I am Dr. Chimsom Ogu, your skin and confidence doctor, and I help you glow from inside out. Thank you very much and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Don't forget to like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Bye bye.
Hehe. Mommy, how many?
Yeah, I think they're still watching. We're finished.
Okay.